on, this ain't stopping.
Hi, so can you give us a quick introduction of yourself?
My name is Dabin. I am a TW nursing student. This is my last semester, so I'm graduating and hopefully going to become a nurse.
Okay, great. All right, so Tabin, can you give us a quick testimony about yourself? Like, when did you first become a Christian, or what was a turning point in your life?
I grew up in a non-Christian household. So after, I was born in Korea, and after my family and I, immigrated here when I was 6, we started going to church because of my komo. She introduced us to church, and so that's when I started going. But it wasn't until, middle school when I, started to realize and understand that, all the biblical things I've learned as a kid, growing up, learning Bible stories, really made sense in my head. Oh, I understand that, Jesus actually came and, died on this earth for me. But then that, transition part of my life didn't occur until high school. So, in between middle school and high school, I always knew that I was saved, and, I lived to be as a quote-unquote Christian, and, did all the church things, and, volunteered, and, did everything. But then my life wasn't really an example of what I think Jesus was on this earth. I wasn't fully transformed. I was saved, but then, my life didn't reflect that as much, Because I don't think being saved is, just one part. I think you have to be saved, and then you're also living and walking that life. But I wasn't doing that part 2 of it. And so it wasn't, my biggest, transition point was in senior year of high school when I found out about my identity. And I had a huge identity crisis senior year when I found out that I wasn't an American citizen. And then everything just kind of crumbled apart, because I always thought that I was just like my other friends. I grew up with a lot of American friends. I didn't have a lot of Korean friends growing up. So yeah, I always thought that I had everything figured out. But the breaking point was when I was applying for college. I figured out that I wasn't an American citizen, because when you apply for college, there's a tab, and the first tab is are you a citizen? And if you click no, there's this drop down menu, and then there's a bunch of stuff oh, are you F1 visa, student visa, and blah 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 blah. But then I didn't fit in any of the criterias, because I didn't have a visa. So I learned from my parents that we moved here, but then my visa expired, and so yeah, so my parents applied for this thing called the DACA, which is this thing called Dream Act, and it's for kids who moved to America at a young age, and they don't have anything, but they want to go to school and have a job. So yeah, that's what I found out I was, and then everything just kind of crumpled apart, and I felt like I hit my rock bottom. I really did. I really hit my rock bottom, because I worked so hard in high school to make good grades and get into a good school and hopefully get good scholarships. But then I realized that I couldn't even apply for FAFSA. I couldn't apply for college like normal students. So I had to go the other way and kind of yeet my way around college applications. But the biggest point of that was luckily, because I still believed in God and I still had that faith, I prayed to him. And I think thinking about it now, my prayer was very selfish and arrogant, because what I prayed for was I was God, if you want me to go and you have allowed me to stay in America, and you want me to go to school and have an education and do these things, show me where you want me to go, make this work. And then I was on top of that, with my financial status, I was if you want me to go, I want a full ride. Also, I prayed very big and very bold. And a couple of months after that prayer, I got all my acceptance letters, but then I still had the financial part issues. And yeah, so I just kind of waited. I didn't really think much about it. I didn't consistently pray on that. But then one day, I checked my email, and then I got a full ride at the university I'm going to. And so I was okay, God, I see you're still there, and you still love me. So that's when I kind of saw his grace and his love towards me. And so yeah, that's my biggest transition point in life. After that has been a lot of his like amazing grace, a lot of severe mercy and amazing grace. Yeah. I would want to say life was easier after that, but it was so much harder. But even though it was harder, it's like it was still so good. And like I learned so much from like all of my hardships after that too. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, great. Moving on to the next question. What do you like most about ARCHE?
What I like most about ARCHE? Well, I like many things about ARCHE. I think the biggest thing I like about ARCHE is just the fact that it is an intergenerational ministry. Like, I've never been to a church where we had service like all together. Like, I think we have like special services, like, you know, like special Sunday services where like the adults and children and like even like the elderly like gather together. But ARCHE is special in the fact that like every Sunday you have worship with everyone, like from middle school and up till, I don't know, like 60, 70. And so you get to see the way other people worship too and kind of learn, and it's like a different atmosphere. It's a different vibe. So I really like that about ARCHE. Another thing I like is I like the community aspect of it. I like how there's a lot of people that are in the similar life stage as me that I can relate to and just like do life with. And then another thing is I'm really challenged here at ARCHE. Like a lot of the sermons that Pete talks about, it leaves me with a lot of questions, and I have to like think about it throughout the week. And yeah, it just challenges kind of like my faith, and it helps me grow a lot. And those are the things that I was looking for coming into this church or any church in general. So yeah.
Okay, great. Expanding a little bit further, what does it mean to be a member of ARCHE to you?
To be a member like of ARCHE, or like what does it mean to be a member of ARCHE? I guess for me, I think it's that you get to be part of like what Jesus calls the body, because the church, like in the Bible, like the church is the body of Christ, and the people like there are many members of that, like many body parts, like members of that body, and that's what I think I get to be, and I get to be used in some sort of way, whether it's serving like through ministry or even supporting. I'm just used in those aspects. So I think that's what becoming a member of ARCHE is.
Okay. So, what is this ministry to you, and where do you see it going?
This ministry, like ARCHE, this ministry to me is, well, it's a lot of things. I think the best way to put it is kind of like my home away from home, because I'm not from here. When I first moved here, like I felt like I wasn't connected at all anywhere. But ARCHE has really brought me like a lot of joy and a lot of like comfort that I would find at home. So yeah, it's been home to me. And where do I see it going?
Mm-hmm.
I see it like, well, one, I see it thriving for sure. But I guess for me, like I see it going towards like outreach and a lot of like expanding just beyond like what we have so far. Because I feel like we hit really good points like within the church. Like we have a stable, like a solid like youth group, like good college and young adult group, and even the like adult group. But then I think like beyond that and outside of that, like we can grow more in like our yags and the way we like actually like get to do life with one another.
Okay. This is going to be a little bit different from the other questions, but what are some of your funniest memories?
My funniest memories? I don't know. Like I think it's a hard. I thought about it. It's so hard to like. I don't know if this is a funny memory, but it's a very vivid memory for me, and like yeah, it's not really funny, I guess, but it's a very, very vivid memory for me. It's when we did ARCHE 102. And I don't know if Chris remembers this, but we did ARCHE 102. And like, so like ARCHE 102 is like discipleship. And we started that last year. And that was like the first like season, I guess, of discipleship. And we always met on like Tuesday nights, I think. But there was a day, like a particular day when I got there super early, and so I was at church like like I was one of the first few people to get there, and we haven't started ARCHE 1 and 2 yet. And so I had a lot of alone time, and I ended up like going to the sanctuary. Like my body just kind of led me to the sanctuary, and I like sat there, and it was like pitch black. It was like super dark. There's no one there, and then like I think I was just like I had a lot of like that whole week was just really hard for me, like in general. And so yeah, I was just like sitting there in the dark. And then I just like one tear shed, and then I just started crying, and I just like, kept on crying. And then literally like in the back, you know, the closet where like the praise team like walks out through. I see like someone with their flashlight, and then it's Chris, and he flashes his flashlight at me. And I'm like tearing, and I'm like crying, you know. And this boy like has the audacity to come up at me and like shine that bright light at my face. And he's like, oh, and then he turns it off. And we just sat there in silence. It was so awkward. But yeah, he just literally sat right next to me. And he was just like, he didn't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do. And it was awkward. And so he left. And I was like, oh, thank God he left. But yeah, I guess that's a funny memory of me in ARCHE.
How do you want to further serve at ARCHE?
Well, I know I'm like serving right now in DG, and my heart has always been out for like the next generation. I just always had a calling like for that, which is why I wanted to serve in the youth ministry. So I want to further serve in youth ministry, but also like kind of help them cultivate like a culture, because I know like that's something that we're navigating right now with the youth ministry is like we want to build and have like a ARCHE culture like within the youth ministry, and I hope to be a part of that and like help them create their own like culture. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for your time, Dabin.
Thanks.
Great.